Hello friends, join me as I take a deep dive into the hows and whys of my feeding program. We'll talk about the logistics of picking up from brewery, we'll talk about the economics of transportation, we'll talk about the farm I rent, we'll talk about the weather that we have here, and we'll talk about storage options. Number one, just the logistics of picking up from a brewery. From week to week, they might be brewing one day this week and 4 days next week. I never know, and it's not uncommon for me to show up on a Wednesday and expect brewer's grain, and they don't have any because, you know, the yeast didn't set up, or somebody didn't show up for work, or they ran out of grain. You know, last week was Christmas. I got a huge amount of feed. That's just the way it is, and they don't give a shit about my feeding program. They just want it gone, okay? The economics of trucking, so it cost me about $20 in diesel to go to Bellingham, get a load, and come back. It cost me about $15 to go for silage and come back. So on the way home from the brewery, I weigh the truck. Guess what I'm going to need for the next 3, 4, or 5 days? Go get silage so I can combine that all in one. You know, the $15 a round trip. You know, I don't want to spend that, and I also don't feel like spending an extra hour every day going for fresh silage. You know, that's my choice, that's my preference. Okay, number three, probably the big thing here is the farm I rent. I'm renting from a very good friend of mine and my mentor, former 4-H leader. We have drank whiskey and coffee together for decades. And I got the farm about 7 days before the excavators got there, right? Guy's worth 8 figures. He was getting ready to bulldoze some bitch. And I says, well, I'm tearing my barns down. I need a little spot for 50 head. What are you doing with that place? I slipped in. It's mine as long as I want. But if I start complaining about the facilities or ask him to spend money, he'll say, hey, no problem. I'll have the excavators there next week. And we'll still be friends, and we'll still drink coffee, we'll still share Christmas cards, I'll still get my summer sausage, but I won't have a farm. Simple as can be. So there's that. Then the weather. I have not been able to haul dry shit since August 25. We've been averaging 10 to 12 inches of rain. It's been raining almost daily since August. I am struggling to get 1 round bale a day out of my round bale yard every other day. I get 1 wheat bale every other day. I can barely get in and out with my Bobcat. So for me to try to get around my place for 10 loads of scoops of feed morning and night to feed these cows and have this fresh feed, it just doesn't work. You know, so where I'm putting the feed is the only spot of concrete on the place that will hold it that doesn't have cows on it. Every piece of concrete on the place has cows on it. And for the last 40 years, it's been serviced by a dairy down the road. Right? They load up a load of feed at the dairy. They come down with a scraper tractor, 2 guys. They push the cows out. They feed the feed in the feed bunks in the cow yard. And that's the way they managed it. So I'm on the only piece of concrete that'll hold the feed. So some options, I would love to be able to bag the brewer's grain, you know, bag it, feed out of one, bag on one end and feed out of the other as it's ensiled. Kind of like a harvester where you fill on top, feed out of the bottom. I'd love it. Okay. Another option would be some sort of pit where I dumped in one end, fed out of the other, figured out how to tarp it, be a bitch to keep it airtight, so it's probably going to have a lot of spoilage. You know, could I get this in a harvester of some sort? Probably. But here I am, I'm bitching about spending $15 to go for silage. There's no way this little dab of brewer's grain I get, it warrants, I don't know, $20,000 for a bagger. I don't even know, right? I think a bag itself is $1,500. So if I went through 2 bags a year, that's $3,000 more than than what I get, and I probably average, $1,000 to $2,000 worth of feed a week. And so the best thing we can do, we try to add and subtract cows as needed to clean up the feed. Now, again, logistics of the brewery, guess when they make beer? They make most of their beer in the summertime, right? When we've got cows on pasture. And then this time of the year when we could really use a lot and we could use a steady supply, hey, it's slow, hey, they take off days for Christmas, hey, it is what it is. So there you have it. Admittedly, my feeding system is subpar and close to a disaster. Meanwhile, in that pen of cows, I've been on that farm for 4 years. I've been feeding the big amounts of brewer's grain for 3.5 years. I've lost 1 cow in that pen, and it was something I bought, and it died 3 weeks later. So, they get free choice straw, they get 2 pounds of wheat silage every day. So they always have something to eat. It's been very successful. So now, could I show up tomorrow and have 10 dead cows? My luck, yes. We'd kick off 2025 with a hell of a bang. But anyway, that's what I got going on. Thank you to Nielsen Beef for putting my feet to the fire and telling me to explain myself, the hows and whys, and what we got going on. God bless you and happy 2025.